That's crazy. That's crazy work. I didn't even think of that. Japan. Dog. What's up, bud? I gotta play this song, brother. I just had it stuck in my head all day. How you been, bud? How you been? All as well. Work was fun. Was work fun? It was alright. Today was a really easy day, except like I had a job where I had to bend over a lot. Boss man. Is what you get. Fuck, boys, I'm about to get stoned as shit. Let's go. When you mess with me, why mess with us? Yo, Smokey, what's up, big dog? I'm giving all I can. It's not enough. Giving all I can. This is what you get.
This is what you get when you mess with us.
Been sick, bro. Sorry I haven't been in the streams. Oh, you don't ever gotta apologize for not stopping by, man. Everybody's got a life. I understand that. Trust me, brother. I appreciate you, though. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you feel better. Hopefully it's not too serious of this illness. Whew. Went down the wrong pipe? Oh no. Shit's strong. Tickled my throat.
their source, Forbidden. Got to check them out on the exposition stage as they were playing out there just earlier in some of the rounds. Some big names that we've heard pointed out from Lace, of course, between Ruckus, still managing to keep themselves high. Very, very sad to see the
Fuck, dude, that toke just took away all my back
I mean,
pain.
Nibble,
Not even exaggerating.
beautiful piece earlier with Masuko, and
Just yoinked it all away from me.
journey like that has already come to an
Fuck,
end.
dude, I gotta work again tomorrow. God
Yeah,
damn it.
this is,
Or I
a
guess
rough
later
day,
today.
you know, for some of these squads. We'll take one more look at our confirmed eliminated teams after days one competition. But it was not an easy day. That's what, you know, happens here. Our lands are typically not easy, and with this many more squads competing and so many other teams trying to step up to the plate, it was that much harder.
Yeah, a long day, you know, a lot of games, a lot going on, lots of people, but the biggest thing is I can't imagine what the pressure would have been like in those lobbies when you know that there's 17 teams going home today. So yeah, it was tough. I feel bad for those competitors, but at the same time, I admire them for coming out and putting up the effort that they did.
100%. I mean, it's definitely not going to be an easy situation. First time at LAN for a lot of them. Commiserations to all of our squads. They put everything they
Dude,
had
how the fuck
on
do they get so
line.
many mahogany
Now it's gonna
logs? What the
continue
hell?
From here, I mean, there's going to be more teams that will get knocked out. But
How the
even
fuck do
those
they get
that are going to
2,000
find
mahogany
success,
logs?
whether
It
that
doesn't
be
even
as a
make
squad
sense.
With slaying power or the individuals, and I'm excited to see this because it's time for our.
Oh, it's
Sony
probably
to
from
come
Zola,
forward and put
actually.
the teams
It
that
makes
they put
sense
all day,
now.
Putting up the numbers they did, I want to know who is on this list.
No way. With that last series taking away.
Look at this
Of course,
bullshit.
the last surviving
2,000
in
kills.
that final match, and you know what? They were on one today, so no surprises there whatsoever. When we're talking about W King earlier today, this is what we were talking about, Graceful. This is what they were doing. They were sending it on every squad ahead of them. We were talking about, of course, having due deference for your elders, but here you also have to make sure that, you know, you can't give them all the respect in the world. You have to play your own game. You have to be able to say to yourself, you know what? I can hang with the big dogs. I can take out the likes of Na'Vi, and they were doing that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, this was just such an impressive performance. You mentioned
Below
it, Pepper.
500.
This type of individual slaying ability is happening when you're in lobbies with juggernauts like the current reigning champions. It really starts to speak to what they're going to bring to the table as we move through
Jesus.
the competition.
I think we talked about a little bit in the green room earlier where, you know, it's great to see what this aggression can lead to. Now the question for a team like Turkaholics as we look towards their future play in our winners rounds is, can they find a place of discipline, right? That same amount of discipline that leads to wins, that leads to consistent point placement, that put them into the top 10 reliably, because truth is floating is incredible and has shown that here today, but you don't always have incredible days. Something that a lot of these teams
You don't always have
do is
incredible
know how
days.
when
It's
they
some
have
correct.
a poor performance,
It's true.
how to still maintain good point scores and at least find their way into top 10 positionings, even if they don't feel like they're the ultimate fragger.
Absolutely, and of course, at the end of it all, the P20 still being that reigning weapon. That was our
Dude,
Sony.
that was fucking disgusting. 2,000 kills, 2,000 over 2,000 kills with P20, and below 500 kills with the next closest.
The main stage. So it's time for our Alienware
Come on, Jackson. Let's go.
Time to highlight moments throughout all three of our series that we got to see here today. Starting off with LG at the very top of the day. Jamerson, Zephyr, you guys got to be here for that series, and they were able to do very well for themselves.
Yeah, we got to see a sliver of the beginning of the three-peat in this set, right? Starting in game number
I'll be right back,
2,
boys.
where they won out in the 2v3, and it was hard to choose, right? Because in that game, I believe they had 22 kills.
29.2 mil.
The next 2 wins, I believe they also averaged 14 kills across those games. This was an easy victory for LG. They were basically playing the way that they normally do, but only better.
Sure, and then of course we move into Series 2, Zephyr, and we've got Furia taking out the likes of Na'Vi and NRG.
Love this one, the turnaround. We got to chat with Keon. They said, we can hear someone coming, and that was all that it took there. Even Keon in the background, maybe first thing for the batteries as it's up to Nock to finish the job. Even still, this is just a small highlight of what Furia has been capable almost all of today. And even while that last series was maybe a little blemish, they still find their way into the top 10 and work into a win overall.
Of course, and then even though it was later on in the day, our teams did not slow down. Specifically, Tworkaholics didn't slow down Jumba, playing it all the way up to the 6th game like absolute animals.
I mean, we've talked about them all day. I think this is very reminiscent to year 2 lands with Team Burger. Fun name, team you didn't expect coming out or slaying out. And we got guys like Waltzy and MT who are now some of the goats of our game. So yeah, you know what, they've done amazing. They got their kills by sending teams like Crazy Raccoon off drop right here and picking up those free kills early on. That's how they were racking up so many of those points against LAN champions. Like, can you believe that? My thing now is, can they continue this throughout the event? I know we said that before the set. They did.
Wow, with my look, I'm surprised they didn't fucking set off the fire alarm.
I mean, the casters have been saying it. We've been saying it. Every single lobby continues to
Bro, I
be
swear
more
to-
and more difficult. Can that play
Never
performance
mind.
continue throughout the upcoming days?
Never
You
mind.
guys can go
Not gonna say
ahead
that.
and vote for all of those clips on @PlayApex Esports on social media and let us know what you think was the best of the day on our Alienware Aces highlights. And of course, you can also make sure you're watching us all weekend long @PlayApex Esports on YouTube, @PlayApex on Twitch. That way you'll get those drops and not miss a single thing that's happening here all weekend long. But Jumba, you joined us for a very fun series here at the end of the day. Thank you so much. Give me your thoughts on today.
I mean, this LAN, I feel like I didn't know what to expect coming in on terms of the competition, but like Apex always delivers, and seriously, it was already really exciting for day 1. I'm ready to see how the competition levels up and some more of these teams that we weren't expecting to come here and perform to really show out and make names, make brands for themselves, because, you know, thousands and thousands of people are watching around the world. Who knows where it could take you? That's pretty cool.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's just day 1. We're only getting started. Jamerson, tell me how you're feeling.
Yeah, honestly, once again, I don't want to harp too much on it, but Tworkaholics really definitely did impress. It gave me inklings of Solifida Aim Assist back in the day, right? But the absurd thing is that they're doing it here on LAN. When Aim Assist came up, it was all online tournaments, right? It was at the beginning of the dark times. I don't want to talk too much about that. And so they hadn't proven themselves on LAN quite yet, and it took a while before we got there. But for Tworkaholics to show up the way they did in this last set, very impressive.
I mean, I don't even think it is harping on it because the whole point of the Open is to showcase this new talent. That's exactly the opportunity that Tworkaholics is seizing right now. Zephyr, finally, tell me how you're feeling.
And I like that too, because ultimately that can lead to some of these players potentially getting signed, finding new
Sure.
rosters,
Please.
potentially even elevating what we might see out of them in the future of the ALGS. And that's what has made this LAN so special, already even on day 1. And I cannot reiterate how it has felt being here, especially in the comfort of NOLA, but also on top of that, the stakes that have gone along with it. It's never been a case where we've come into a day 1 where the challenge has been raised, and for everyone out there, they've had to face their difficulties targeting greatness.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really solid point. It's been a fantastic here, day 1 of the ALGS Open. Hopefully all of you at home or here in the arena have absolutely loved it. I know we have, but that is all we have for today. But of course, we have 3 more days of competition right around the corner. And if you want to know when we're going to be kicking things off here tomorrow, it's going to be 10 a.m. CT for winners round 2 continued. I know we did some on the main stage, some in the pit. We're not done yet, okay? And we have loads more elimination rounds as well. And then we will eventually move to winners round 3, 6:45 p.m. CT. Another very full day of series. So make sure you are tuning in, whether that is to the live broadcast or, like we said, on social media, so that way you can see what's happening with some of your favorite players and teams. It's only going to get more exciting as we continue on. So please tune back in tomorrow for day 2 of the ALGS Open. Until then, good night, legends.
Okay, Tworkaholics now see an opportunity to make their move. Can they get back in on the Newcastle from behind? Yes, they can.
对吧？对吧？这个呀。
forces Na'Vi taking up so much space, whereas BKG are feeling the pressure. Na'Vi walking in, and they take the dub.
Both are crumbling in the hands of Furia. The high ground, the gameplay, the flanks, it's too much. You cannot contest.
Get my
Furia.
food out of the oven. Be right back.
Alright, and we're talking about the high ground, low ground disparity. SAU on the low ground, Monster on the high ground. It looks like Monster will be taking the final game of the day here in New Orleans.
Oh, Jack. Oh, Squirter. What's up? Wait, did they just end the broadcast? No fucking shot. That was the end of the fucking. Oh, I guess we're going back.
Paying attention.
Seeing different maps coming into play.
The Apex South team is because
Combined creating
move on to
draft fantasy, looking at the fact that Fragment not touched, Epi not touched. We get to see though.
very they
Wait, they're
make
playing
their way
fucking
through
World's
here
Edge?
into winners round
Nice.
the radar.
It is the bubble teams that work.
Rip in both of those. Okay, with VK Gaming, very interesting. The other thing we had was that it was either Newcastle or Catalyst banned right from the start. And of course, we are seeing both of those picks be very highly prioritized across the board here.
You know what's interesting? You talk about VK Gaming and Valkyrie. I feel like that's so in brand with VK Gaming, a team that really likes to play for the best position in that final zone, wanting to kind of find themselves safely where they know that zone is going to be pulling rather than being hyper aggressive that we see teams like Furia position themselves. We know that they like to split loot one member over by Trials. The rest of Furia is going to be able to get that ring console as well as loot up the other side of Skyhook before making their rotate, and you know, maybe not having to go too far away considering where the zone may be pulling next.
Someone threw a fucking
One
Easter
of
egg in
the
there.
interesting differences we're going to see here, because we haven't seen World's Edge in Pro League yet so far this year. It's been a while. Look at the amount of alters here. Okay, so having a chat to some other pro players earlier today, they were saying watch out for alter on World's Edge because it changes everything. They were saying there are some crazy rotates you can do with the Void Passage. If you go down to, say, launch site, you can go from outside one of those main buildings into the middle room, you know, the one that has sort of double doors on either side, right? Because that's 30 meters. So you could have players watching the front and the back, and all of a sudden, like a mole pops out of the middle of your building and starts an insurrection.
Well, just so it's
yeah, there's all these interesting opportunities. I mean, we're
especially
getting a
in
Skyhook zone. Think about what happens to the buildings on E-District when you've got Alta in the pool, right? You're having to jump on bookcases and stuff to stop yourself getting, you know, to stop the abductions coming through from the Alta. Teams are going to have so many more options to the typical Skyhook zone that we're used to, where 18 teams will find a building each and sit there for a very
Thing
long
is,
time.
what do I
Aggressive
do?
Options abound here in this new World's Edge.
I can't wait. I just imagine the kidnap opportunities out here, the multi-team building fights when you know that Skyhook zones always allow so many squads to coexist with one another. That's why you usually see on World's Edge, when you see Skyhook zones, you could expect so many teams to already still be there for Circle 4. So seeing how this plays out with a lot of the teams that have already gotten the information on where the zone's going to be pulling, and I love how we did highlight VK Gaming running the Valkyrie so that way they could go for this quick rotate. Well, guess what? There's really nowhere to rotate because you already know where that next zone's pulling. You're going to be sticking around by Skyhook, hopefully finding themselves in a great position. Same thing could be said about Fury, who have retracted right back to
All right,
we're taking an evac tower, finding their place over on the north side of Skyhook, and the other teams that will be rotating from the south.
Okay, so Na'Vi, yeah, we see them taking up top position there in the Skyhook, rotating in from Monument. Of course, they did have Fragment to go with that to supplement their loot because no one chose that POI. That means they get to sit up there. They might be 1,500 off their purple Evos, Vicky, but they've got plenty
Pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. The fight.
Of sightlines and ammo to work their way towards purple.
Theory crafting here about not only the altar plays that could happen here on Skyhook, but Newcastle, because we do have more Newcastle in this lobby, 15 Newcastles in total. So he will be the first legend banned of this series, but combining the Newcastle and then the altar too when you're trying to bunker down with a lot of these teams that have this as a priority POI who won't really be able to get those Evo Harvesters, the best bet that they got is really shooting from afar and getting this poke damage.
I mean, you saw there that Keon was already up to purple armor when some of his teammates were on white. Okay, now obviously that's part of him starting over at Trials and having, you know, some of the only PvE available to teams on World's Edge.
And already starting off strong here. Timmy got beamed, but it's okay. Yanya was right there to help him out. That also goes hand in hand with the altar portal that you could get right on top of the high ground just as quickly. They weren't able to get that knock.
Yep, you can see Twerkaholics. What a name. Taking the Void Nexus back towards Lava Fissure here, so I think they might all get out. Yeah, I don't see an assist on the side of NRG here, so despite the fact that they've got a knock, they're not able to find that finish.
Can we talk about the Portal Nexus? And if you purposely plan out 2 Portal Nexuses to cover almost 2 POIs, that's 4 POIs that you could really cover depending on which Portal Nexus you want to take first. But it's also just a great get out of jail option because you know that they probably aren't going to be taking that portal once they use that Portal Nexus. Great way to reset here as we've already seen from Twerkaholics. I love that name.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting names in this lobby. As we watch Young Black Ricky set up there. Obviously their name coming from partly Young Hong Kong, who's been the import from, I think it's Denmark actually, to APAC South. So interesting players going all over the world these days, joining one team or another.
Whatever it takes here as NRG looking at VC Go. Twerkaholics are still right behind them by Mirage. They will be able to scan that survey, so NRG, if they want to commit to this fight, they have to be wary of the
Tony, what's good, bro?
party that could come up from right behind their 6.
Yeah, now the Twerkaholics have got the reset. They hear the shooting, and they are actually making their way slowly towards NRG. And if they aren't careful, could get collapsed on here from both sides.
Some G7 shots. NRG keeping up the pressure.
Enough pressure to push VC Go out, right? So it seems like that danger is gone, and now they can think.
Mario on PC, yep.
He's walking up here. The fact that he's walking and almost catches them up on the survey beacon. A couple of good headshots here. A tether could be the end of Yanya.
And they were not expecting it. They did have that Portal Nexus. Maybe that's why they were feeling a bit more brave to try to extend here. But what timing it was for them to take it. You saw the drift as well. So Twerkaholics noting that they could be right here around the other side of the rock. But it also means that NRG will be taking just a bit of circle damage.
I mean, even situations like that show you.
No, I had an emulator and I was playing like the old school ones.
Daniel was dead to rights there if he didn't have a Nexus as a get out of jail free card.
Trying to take some raw pop shots as NRG are going to be able to take the evac tower out of that craze. Saying, all right, VC Go, you could count your blessings. Twerkaholics had saved you with that third party. We're going to be making our rotate through Lava Fissure. We already know that Crazy Raccoon have found that console beacon, rather that circle beacon right there by Countdown, so they'll have information on where that next zone is going to be pulling. But so many of the other teams have already made their way inside some of the squads, rather the buildings right here on Skyhook.
CTA pinging out a position. Oh, they actually fall off. Not because they've taken any damage. Sometimes teams will try and play it safe that way. I'm not sure if that was because they spotted out SGP2 ahead of them. Or if they wanted to actually stick around for the next ring console scan, seems to be the more likely option.
Workaholics, though, it's been non-stop action. If they couldn't take the fight to NRG while they're taking
Linux? Yeah, I know Linux.
Instead, you see the Portal Nexus being activated, but they were able to get 2 knocks onto Workaholics, only leaving 1 behind. Will Workaholics be that first team to go out? I mean, with that Portal Nexus, Workaholics have managed to go right back to Mirage Etoile and then over to their second Portal Nexus in Lava Fissure.
They know NRG's nearby, though. The reset has put them into the waiting arms of NRG. Have they heard this? Have they seen it? Seems like maybe they don't care. They might just prioritize the rotation here and start moving in towards Skyhook as the zone pulls ever deeper into the city itself.
I don't think they did actually see it. If anything, they just wanted to take that jump tower to just start moving into that next zone. Leaving Workaholics to play this out as a solo for now. Could be a replicator nearby here as we tune in, see the other squads making their rotate. Talk about T-Long.
Let me know how it goes.
Their rotate, exiting out of the monument side through the choke where the tunnel is.
And depending on how they decide to play this, it could decide the fate of SJP2 and Liquid Alien, where you can see they're coming right up on the back of them, and a nice fuse ult here.
You also got World War on Steam. Nice.
Push Liquid back.
I just play on Plutonium.
Unless they really decide to get frisky with this here. It's really all up to CR, honestly, because they can decide to keep going further into the city, or they can decide to hold out Liquid Alienware and look for the KP in that way.
Even bigger from
I just used the torrent.
Recognize that they do not want to take that
got it on
inside the
Plutonium.
tunnel with the fuse
I'm
ult
cheap.
cutting them off and also staggering them a little bit. It's an opportunity for a potential third party to come in from right behind them. So they immediately backtracked and looked to see if any other squad could be rotating from Grandma's house. They did note that SJP2 are in Grandma's house. There could be a beacon there that they're trying to prioritize before going into the north side by Skyhook. But Liquid Alienware look like do want to try to take this fight versus Crazy Raccoon.
Okay, yep. Now that the fuse hold has been expended, less opportunity for CR to push them back with utility. Still using grenades, but at some point they are going to run out of ways to tell Liquid to get out of the tunnel.
Off that stick on the Arcstar, though, I really do like how they were holding for Puriv to just reset with the battery there.
By the way, Twerkaholics, on their second or third reset, have just found themselves a mythic bin. Okay. It's being rewarded for I don't know what.
Maybe just being Twerkaholics themselves. I mean, we talk about some RNGs is coming through for them here, really helping them out. And you know what?
They got the shrine set up.
Yes, exactly. And not only that, too, you could also bless the fact that the zone will be pulling more so over to the west side of Skyhook, too.
And if you have a look at this, I mean, Modstar is currently split holding 3 different buildings, one of which Twerkaholics could easily take residence up in if they spot that out soon enough. Still 20 teams and 60 players alive, by the way. Zone 3, all right, we're getting some quality
That's fair.
This
That's
is what I
fair.
like to see. This is what I expect, though, in a zone like
That's
this
fair.
on World's Edge. You could also see the Starbreak beacon that was scanned up, so that team knowing how many players are within the vicinity where they're playing, how many squads are stacked up on top of each other, sharing some of this building space as Twerkaholics slide down for free from the trial side.
And not only that, it's the Kraber ballistic combo, the infinite Kraber. Oh my. If they come out and win this will be one of the comebacks of all time.
The fact that that building was free, too, they're going to absolutely take that. CTE in some trouble, though, losing out on Chase Ball the moment that they try to find a position from underneath the middle console of Skyhook. Losing out a second one, Mav is able to get that shield swap, but you're dancing around the bullets. Good luck trying to get that res. They break down the Newcastle ult wall. But luckily he is altered. They still had that cat wall up so you could reposition, but they're not the only team shooting at them right now. CTE are dancing around bullets from 2 different teams.
Ugh. Kind of like my brother when we were 10, just not willing to share.
If anything, BKG wanted a CTE all to themselves. Everyone trying to take some shots at them. Circle now closing into the back. So many squads have already found themselves, though, in their own respective building over in Skyhook.
Where's it going? Goes west. Straight onto the market. Classic ending here in Skyhook. Advantage
Hook.
Monster. Twerkaholics.
Hook.
We were saying, 3 buildings available. One of them is now out of zone. 2 of the others still being split hold, and they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we'll have to see if they can leverage that mythic loot to try and make their way into zone, as they actually, I don't love this building. I mean, in this particular situation, it's a little better because you've got some of the angles cut off here. But my lord, if they had have,
My lord.
found that option to go market or go the building even further north where Monster was split holding, it'd be so much better for them right now as they're trying to hold this 2-story.
Oh, but they're trying to force the interaction. I mean, they do have the Evil Shield advantage, but they lose that on 1. The P20 is just doing enough to take care of that squad.
Okay.
Spectre, Esports, and Zero Tenacity are eliminated in the lobby.
All right, so they get the win over Spectre Esports, and now they have to be really hopeful that they can hold this out against teams like NRG, who are currently scouting their building, but they're not the only team here who's cohabiting. We've got Liquid Alienware going up against Twisted Minds, 7T, as teams start to make their next moves. We've already lost 3 squads.
And this is Liquid Alienware, who made their rotate outside of that tunnel that they were
Where's my
trying
guy?
to originally take that fight versus Crazy Raccoon, went all the way around through Grandma's house, and now went from the east side of Skyhook, finding themselves in now a building, sharing the space with 7T. See them with the multi-floor building that they have that space to work off of, but they're not the only ones, with Mind also playing right underneath them.
There he is.
Here comes the EMP. Goodbye, Watson Fences. We know how this goes. Crazy Raccoon now slide in, and it looks like they want a little piece of the action, playing from right underneath, and they're also one of the teams with the altar.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to point out, right? 7T, YBR, a couple of teams actually opting from the rip to choose Watson over Catalyst. Interesting choice for a couple of reasons. I mean, I don't know, maybe they picked up on the fact that not as many crypto teams in this lobby. Let's have a look here.
Okay.
We've only got 4 actually from lobby number 1. That could pick up when some other picks get banned out later.
Also floating with the Kraber shot onto Guild. Does get that knock. Don't think you're going to be able to get that finishing blow, though, considering that Energy are an isolated team on one of the buildings that are on the outskirts of this zone. So Twerkaholics kind of sending a message, after the action that we saw earlier on in the game.
Yeah, meanwhile, we saw SJP there trying to set up in the middle of everything, a spot you usually wouldn't be able to play if you didn't have the Newcastle wall, and this is why we talk about it being one of the most transformative legends in Apex Legends, because you really can play so many spots that are otherwise unplayable with any other team composition.
Calm before the storm. See the pings. SJP2 playing right alongside Twerkaholics, but it's about getting visuals over the squads. It's, what, 4 squads or so? 5 squads actually, that are in the middle console of Skyhook. And really, it's only Monster that have the sliver corner of the building still in that next zone. Gets another crack, but again, you can't really do much off of this damage that you're getting with Kraber.
No, but depending on when they get the damage, they
10
might
seconds
be
left.
able to stop NRG from having time to get the reset, right? And we see NRG Guild go down as well, because S8 have noticed the Kraber ringing out. They've noticed this team getting knocked next to them, and S8, they're unsure about their next rotation, and they're saying, we should, at the very least, try and confirm some KP on either side of us.
And Energy is feeling the pressure with Yanya now going down, so Twerkaholics still putting in the damage that they need through that window. VG now make their way with the Wraith Portal, but is it even safe to take when you're getting shot from afar? Zone closing in, Crazy Raccoon get eliminated. This is where we get to see all these teams collapse. 14 squads still left with round 5 closing.
This is about to be straight up chaos. Liquid Alienware move in, but remember that position right ahead of them, that's SJP2. Furia also looking for some kills, but they are surrounded by teams. Furia, go down.
And you have to worry about Ochako with that Kraber in his hand. Liquid Alienware Curve cannot...
And I've never used it.
Instead, look at the amount of teams that are dropping. 10 squads left. Haguadis gets beat from the other side, though. Curve tries to go for the res.
SJP2, they get taken out of their little bunker position in the middle. Twisted Minds do not make the rotation. Neither do Liquid Alienware. Twerkaholics,
Never
from their
before,
more
my
isolated
guy.
position, are able to survive for now.
look at their positioning here behind the Newcastle wall too.
Incredible, the only team to survive through all of that on that side of the map. And as you see, they get, you know, it's a Newcastle wall. It's not their own, but they have that position to play.
Yeah, literally one of the teams not running the Newcastle out here, but thank you very much for the early gift. We'll absolutely take those, while Na'Vi had lost out on Harako, who had jumped down to put down that portal. VK Gaming, though, engaging in a fight too. And they find Eternal. 5 squads left. Here comes Na'Vi sliding in, trying to go for the opportunity to third party with their timing.
Okay, Twerkaholics now see an opportunity to make their move. Can they get back in on the Newcastle from behind? Yes, they can. VK Gaming goes down. Monster have been biding their time all of this game, and now they seize the opportunity to come up behind Unreal Nightmare as Twerkaholics get more and more kills.
The third party for free from Monster to walk in as
Used any VPN? Yeah, but like the VPNs, I used like ExpressVPN before.
Don't want to get fully wrapped on, and it's going to be that 1v1 between Monster and Twerkaholics, but Twerkaholics are also playing this incredibly slow.
Sorry.
They had the portal nexus.
I mean, Monster had the opportunity to try and split them up there. It's good enough regardless. The Void Nexus will not save Twerkaholics, but they don't mind. They picked up quite a number of kills in that game. They end up with a sizable chunk of points available in game 1 there. An interesting start of the game from them, and an incredible conversion, honestly, considering how scattered they were from the start all the way over at staging.
Honestly, so impressed to see how Twerkaholics was able to survive the onslaught of teams collapsing on one another once everybody was funneled outside of their own respective buildings on the west side.
You
of
know,
Skyhook, but even more chaotic at the teams that
emulator
had to
games,
from the middle console, Skyhook, that had to drop
emulator
down to that
games,
high
no,
ground,
like I
and
know how to
everybody
emulate
else was
games and
in that
shit.
next zone too, so everybody was
Emulator
just forced out,
games,
kind
no.
of close to the open.
Yeah, I think one thing that definitely would have worked in Twerkaholics' favor was that the teams were close enough to hear them constantly firing the Kraber, and any team on, you know, to their right as they walked in on that zone close would have been so scared of Twerkaholics that they all just sort of ran into each other, and in the end, that's why
Patat
Twerkaholics
with
came out with that
cheese.
side of the zone all to themselves and finish up with 16 points, a very respectable total considering the amount of respawns it required.
With 7 KP, I mean, KP across the board here for our top 10 squads in general, even going all the way down to Eternal with 6 KP, VK Gaming as well, as that is their POI, so they're able to pressure out some squads that were trying to find their space into some of the buildings over in Skyhook. But I like
Yeah,
what we're seeing,
spyware.
a lot more
Okay.
time to start off our
What
first
doesn't
game.
nowadays?
And I believe in our last series that we had here on main stage, Twerkaholics also started off very strong when they had played in their series.
Yeah, that's another great start from them. And as you said, everyone here, right, has you know, at least gotten through that one winners bracket. So they've got something to hang their hat on for the moment. Having a look at a head-to-head here between a couple of our top teams, you can see it was a solid 4.8k coming out of Twerkaholics.
It's nice to be able to see how a lot of these teams have to make those adjustments on World's Edge, right? Because we have seen Stormpoint, we have seen what E-District brings to the table, but also when you have a Skyhook end zone like that, being able to go over to Alter and then work around these buildings, being able to reset that we saw Twerkaholics do when they were originally almost pinched by NRG and that other team that we saw trying to rotate over from that side, but still being able to get that there, get the reset and the Mythic Bin is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, look, shout out to Monster as well, right? They obviously they won the game. It was a pretty slow one for them. As we said, they were split holding 3 different buildings towards the northwest of Skyhook towards the start of that game, and they played the waiting game. It was a patient game, and they come out with a dub for it.
And that's what you have to do here. You want to carry on some of that momentum going into our next 2 games here on World's Edge. We got a lot more action coming to you guys soon. It's been a great day here, our 3rd series of the day to passive, allowing you to get the passive healing on.
I'd say there'd be a much higher behind.
To our game number 1 is Valkyrie. You see SJP2 now running the Valkyrie alongside VKG.
Yep.
Something else that we were expecting already, looking at the way that VKG's playstyle really helps work into the enabling of the Valkyrie and the Rampart, as well as the Gibby. Almost getting a little bit of a taste of the deja vu, minus the Rampart being involved in that composition.
So what we see typically when you've got Newcastle banned out is a massive shift. Wait, hold up, what? How did they just get it?
Like off the rip with the Sentinel, by the way. Like,
Oh my god, that was from Lava Fissure all the
Ain't
way
no
to
way.
Mirage Trois. All right, well played.
it was a little personal, almost like a grieving play. It's like, how are you going to even cross a distance like that unless you immediately loot on the edge of your POI
Yeah,
to then
maybe.
take that zip line? But I don't see that happening.
Okay. Anyway, I don't think they'll get the follow-up on that shot, but just a fun one. And now look, yeah, okay. So as we get a look at the team compositions, you can see a stark shift here. We've gone from 15 Newcastle picks and 4 crypto picks to Newcastle being banned, and now 16 cryptos in game 2. And it kind of highlights that there is essentially 2 main play styles if all the legends are unbanned. And one is the defensive Newcastle style, the other one is the aggressive crypto style. They're both just very strong. Obviously, a lot of teams, even if they prefer to play the more defensive style, just have to go with what works. And here we are seeing them...
Eli, what's up,
on
dudes?
match
Chilling, you
here,
know, killing some
on World Beach. So,
fucking...
we are going to see that banned after this game, and from then on...
Killing some
yeah, just going down the
archaeologists.
list.
And I love how you could get
You
creative with that
working?
aggressive
Not
play
right
style.
now,
We do look at where that zone is gonna be
but
pulling
I was
fish
working
like
earlier.
outside Lava Siphon, by the way. You highlight the crypto, you could couple it with the
I was
altar.
working earlier. I
You've
just
been
put
seeing
in
a
a
lot of the
fucking
looks that now make
8-hour
you
shift.
some of these compositions, so that way you could go in for an entry frag
Back
and maybe
hurts, you know? Yo, zombie, what's up, bud? Yo, boys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in the wilderness right now, so I kind of have to really pay attention because I can die. You know what I mean? And I don't like someone can come like player kill me. I don't want to. I want to die.
For now, not taking that rotation actually. Where did CTE even go?
My boy got a job. Yeah, well, I mean, I could have always had a job whenever I wanted, but
I mean, there's
I'm buying a fucking Honda Civic with like 5,000 kilometers. Sorry, I'm buying a Honda Civic with 33,000 kilometers for $5,000. So, you know, I gotta
seems like that is likely where the zone is going to head.
pay for the
That zone
car.
direction. Teams are already popping in through there. You know, interestingly, we've got the S-bends that go between Siphon and Harvester. Because we've still got Alter in, you've got to remember, you can get straight through those with a Void Passage, right? So it used to be, it was already actually quite a hard place to halt because you'd be trying to hold out one team, you know, behind you, and then another one would turn up. You had nowhere to go. Maybe now you could just be like, haha, and like take the Void Passage.
W, yeah.
Two fights. I don't know.
Then Canada, the same Honda Civic, the same Honda Civic, but in like the market is like 300,000
Na'Vi feeling
kilometers.
some pressure from right behind them. You know, we went from having like one team in the middle of Lava Siphon
No
to having
joke.
like over 7 teams within an instant, almost 15-second difference of having these different teams now make their rotate into that north side of Lava Siphon.
How many teams are we going to see with their armor on the floor for about the next 15 minutes? 16
Basically buying a
teams
brand new
in
car for $5
all
grand.
these teams
I just gotta
just
deal
sitting in
with
buildings
some
in
body
Siphon.
work to
They are
it,
going
change
to
the
just
fender, you
breathe
know?
on repeat by
Pull out a
ENT.
couple dents.
Where are we going? Choco Cheddar
And
makes
we'll be
lazy.
fucking
Oh,
laughing.
He gets hit twice and look at his health. That was a 30-30 shots. He felt that. He clenched a little bit before taking a portal. Oh, we've all been in that situation. It was 7T.
That was a heart attack.
Putting in some of that damage here. You don't want to have a very similar situation that played out in game number 1 play out this early in game number 2.
Twerkaholics NRG running into each other once again. Can NRG finish the
No
job off
need
this
to
time and
risk
not
it.
let Twerkaholics get away with the, what was it, 16 points they ended up with in game 1?
Crazy reset from Twerkaholics, showing that potential. I also really like their risk and reward assessment when it comes to early game
It's
and
killing
having
me.
to get that knock, even if they don't try to capitalize off of it. NRG do have the portal Nexus set up right behind them. They're trying to look at Twerkaholics. The crypto drone floating around before getting that survey beacon. Twerkaholics has actually ended up backpedaling towards Lava Fissure, their POI, where they also have their own portal Nexus. And if they want to take their time over by Countdown, there is also a ring console there.
Yeah. They can grab that one. They can go in, you know, there's so many other survey beacons on the way to the next zone. And not only that, but there's actually going to be so much playable space in this next zone, right? Like, most teams have just funneled into Siphon already, and the teams who are playing Edge and who are coming in a little late actually will have quite a bit of space to work
Ooh.
with. Unlike Kurev, who gets taken
My
down
man
before he
can get that
even
wall
caught
down.
that cat wall.
Oh, so unfortunate. Now leaving Jaguares
Bro.
as the solo member. He's got the blue perk though with the crypto, and he's just trying to.
I hate
float
the
around
P20
with the
meta.
crypto drones,
Shit's
that way
so
nobody
crank
else
cancer.
can see him. He is invisible for now, and it looks like all the attention off of Team Liquid, and now Zero Tenacity dropping down, looking at VC go.
Yeah, they just ballooned in here. And all of a sudden, Zero Tenacity, who were happy that they managed to grab those kills onto T-Law, suddenly had their backs against the wall down here at Stacks.
This is great news though for T-Law, because not only do you still have your crypto alive, but the block side is okay because there is a replicator there. Maybe they can make some magic happen in going for this reset. CGO, they got the scan though. 23 enemies scanned off that survey, noting where all these other squads are in that next zone.
Kind of feels like they're just listening out for the other teams right now, trying to work out if they can finish off some of those kills around them. EAC, though, have actually taken up a position on the highway outside Big Maud. Could be an issue for them as we get the respawn from T-Law coming in.
And they'll be able to rotate on the other side of that zone, right? They don't really have to go through Stacks. They're going to
So it's unplayable. This bullshit game.
Aware that Zero Tenacity had rotated from the tunnel vault side.
It's so sad to see where Apex is going and where it was been back in the day.
That will be rotating on the edge of this
Fucking cancer now. This game. You can barely watch it. I used to love watching this game. Can barely play it.
Sound of the drop ships
Used to
alert
love
them.
playing that fucking game.
Someone's respawned in
fuck.
their vicinity.
Cancer.
Zero Tenacity, quite split up right now. There's actually one member coming into the tunnel behind BCGO. Meanwhile, the other two are in the building. Do they collapse upon them?
Just try to take it. No, okay, he put down the tether over on the high ground just in case. But like you mentioned, you know, being separated like this, it's difficult with VCGO, at least though, now moving out of that tunnel side. Zero Tenacity are going to be looking at them. Some 30-30 shots, but lackluster attachments here, though. Gonna use
What
your
did you
iron
think?
sight.
Yeah, 30-30 minute was
Yeah,
fucking
man.
cancer too. Couldn't go across an
Yeah,
opening.
literally zero. Looks like they're on the sticks literally too. I mean, having to.
I
put
mean,
down
there's
the
been
bat
some
with
pretty
2 shield
cancer
cells as
metas,
well. Gotta work with what you got here.
but definitely was a bad one. Oh.
CR, as we can see, looking to make their move into zone. Currently not inside and maybe running into Monster, perhaps even NRG. As you can see with the zone here, it looks like we might be getting one of those crane endings somewhere near the ditch to the north of Lava Siphon. Teams like Na'Vi set up very well for that. Even maybe Young Black Ricky holding Grandma's house just outside Geyser there as well can be a good staging ground.
Seen a few end zones where it could pull towards the north side of Na'Vi by that fence line, but I do feel like it won't pull directly to that north. We're going to have to see. But usually in zones like that, we know it's so chaotic for the teams that have to play underneath on that low ground. Looking at the squads, though, that are still inside of these
Some of the
buildings
worst,
over by Lava
yeah.
Siphon. Still with Alter, of course, being in play.
I'd rather have the fucking Havoc
We
meta
could
back.
see
I love the
and try to
Havoc
get into
meta.
a nice rotate once these squads do know where that next zone's going to be, because there is that ring console right in the middle of that Lava Siphon building.
Yeah. We've got, what is it, like 1 Gibby in the lobby ready to take advantage of that? Maybe VKG could pull it off. Not that they're anywhere near it, I don't think. No, they're way too far up. They're playing near the bridge.
Crazy Raccoon getting that knock onto Timmy. The finishing blow here. It's a poking from afar with these G7s as well. Like with Alienware after their reset,
Next season is gonna be cancer as fuck too. You think it's bad now? Wait till you're getting bowed from everywhere with explosive fucking bolts. Like I'm not even gonna be playing next season. It just looks terrible.
Previously, you know, you get a thermite down on the stairs. There wasn't really any way for a team to
They're
push.
increasing the damage
That
for the
was enough
P20s
to
as well.
force
Like
the
suck my
Arkstar to buy you
asshole.
valuable
Call me
seconds.
Sally.
Now they can come at you from any angle with the Void Passage.
Am I seeing this right? Did the Mythic Bin just spawn right on top of Navi's building? That is incredible. I mean, that's going to be difficult here. They could definitely try to pull it off, seeing how they can. VKG also looking at them, too, from afar.
Well, I feel like the Mythic Bin is always spawning like way out in Narnia, and it'll be some weird team like Twerkaholics on the edge who manages to get it, right? So the fact that you get Godspot and the Mythic Bin, that just seems a bit much. It's a bit on the nose.
Take those. And the zone is continuously pulling out on top of them. Great call out here from Na'Vi, setting themselves up. VKG
Increasing the damage is insane. I know, they're putting back the 25.
Before this round 3 zone starts closing in, but
Fucking makes no sense.
Charged up as Twerkaholics slide in and send Eternal.
You know what's
also
funny?
to the lobby.
The guy that made the new character already got fired by Respawn in EA.
A Rampage sound as he was just, yeah, and I was like, nah, that's Vicky's thing.
Especially with the ballistic. Come on. You know what?
He's
I'll
already
VKG
been
now.
fired.
Get like an April Fool's patch going in here. Do the sound effects for the
Oh, dude, you know what's ass? I just
It makes me so happy, by the way.
picked up
having
that shark
Rampage
and
out
put it
the
in my
back, especially with
bag.
The time to kill changes as well.
There was a Rampart player in one of the other lobbies who actually picked it up even without the sling. Hey, you know what? I want to hear from Liquid. What are they up to? What are they doing?
That's wild.
Aquí enfrente de mí. Cátale, rota. Grito aquí abajo a mi izquierda. Dentro, sí, está muy tocado. Buena.
Otro
Sí,
tiro,
buena.
rota. Pon golpe arriba. Aquí por la izquierda nos necesitamos meter al puente.
Cuidado,
Va,
pues, de
hay un team
arriba,
aquí
de
adelante, ten cuidado.
Quédate. Aquí tenemos zona. Sí. Sigo jugando arriba. ¿Se van a pelear, no? ¿Camión?
Sí. Van a salir peores de camiones, pero estamos mal aquí.
Podemos jugar abajo, ¿no? ¿Podemos jugar abajo? Sí.
Dale. Hay un team. Hay otro team aquí abajo. Aquí
Te voy a
abajo,
cinguear.
aquí abajo, sí. Aquí abajo.
Rota, boliste.
Hay 50 del fondo, 50 del fondo a la derecha.
Ya te juego al medio.
Está aquí arriba.
You know what? I'm gonna bounce out of this fight real quick.
No, está one, man. ¿No puedes ir con Jaguares? ¿A dónde?
And being one shot, they do not get the clutch. Liquid Alienware get eliminated. You saw them slide in with the confidence with that Rampage. Gotta hit them with a gratatata real quick, but then unfortunately, falling short, leaving that player one shot. Now here comes Twerkaholics sliding in, putting in a bombardment of nades before they try to position themselves right outside the trucks. And you can even hear it in Liquid Alienware's comms that they knew that they wanted to try to get here too. Here you go with the P20s and the tether. They get that last member. VC goes eliminated, but okay, wait, not when you just saw that Graver. Hold on, let's all take a moment here.
And they decide that it's not even safe there in the caravan, so they'll just immediately take the Void Nexus there. For
My
the
man went to
safe
res him
reset. I
right
like that
away.
option. It actually pulls them close to the zone as well. Maybe they saw that afterwards and said, hey, this is just an easy way to make our next rotation. But you saw how even the caravans are less safe than they used to be, right? If nades rain in, you hide behind the little chairs, you go to the other end of the caravan, there's usually some spots where you can at least mitigate some of that nade damage, but not anymore. You sit there, you're going to get immediately whisked out by a Void Passage.
Can you imagine being VCGO and just like having to deal with the Void Passage, the tether on top of it? You think you're sliding through the door, but then you get stuck on the edge of the truck. Crazy Raccoon. Stuck in a corner though. NRG looking at them from the high ground.
Okay, it actually shifts on the other side of the crane. So, you know, we were talking about Na'Vi being in the building next to that one, which would be quite good. And of course, you know, they got the Mythic Bin, so he said, sorry, can't have Zone 2. We'll send that over to CTE on the eastern side here. So, still pretty close to that bridge. We're going to see, teams like Furia. They've got Unreal Nightmare there underneath. That's who's looting those boxes down the bottom there. And then Young Black Ricky still at Grandma's house.
Alright, Tony, you have a good night, buddy.
He's spotting them out right now. That is a big
I'm getting pretty tired myself.
about that team.
Still pulling on the side where you could play off the other side.
Except for a little bit longer, though.
Yourself in a crater that we were highlighting.
You have a good night, bud. Stay safe out
It's
there.
almost like Furia are a threat to YBR here because, the way this zone has actually gone that far north, they can play from up at Grandma's house and then just be looking down through that zip line towards the teams below them. This could be huge.
And the zone pulling in and closing right behind Crazy Raccoon cause their demise as they get pinched too. I believe it was BG also looking at them. Energy made a quick rotate. Nice Graver shots coming in from Aberlily, trying to get the kidnap, but having to look behind.
Yeah, I hate that, and the fact that like the P20s are literally just RNG. You know what I mean?
And it looks like there's going to be too many
It's literally just a bloom weapon. You can like.
Luckily, he's already taken the door, so it is going to be a little hard for the teams to follow him, unless, of course, they work out where he is, and then they can just alter through the wall. And that's what you know, stuffed up Twisted Minds to start with, right? You could see Alb was looking around. He had no idea where the attack was coming from. Alter just makes it so hard to hold these positions.
Soul being also right underneath them too, right? Full blue, Evo shield.
Yeah, they're fucking mics.
Respawn?
Yeah, actually.
Holy.
Interesting.
Good night, buddy. You have a good night,
Now we've
Tony.
got- it's hide and seek.
I'm gonna go grab a glass of
Workaholics
water or
and
something to
CTE.
drink.
Who can stay hidden for longer?
Ah.
Zone closing in. Look at floating, playing off the slow ground.
We're quiet. We're silent. We're trying not to move here. The first to get spotted is the first to lose.
Play for placement at this time with YBR holding onto the high ground, but with the crypto drone, they scan the stragglers from right underneath. Workaholics being
They
the
found each
ultimate
other.
left, and they look at each other with CTE on the other side.
Just let them play the 1v1. Come on, guys. Let it be a clean
Respect it.
1v1. There we go.
Oh. And they give it to them here with Young Black Ricky being your champions for game number 2. It was inevitable with their positioning, but the respect on the Ultra 1v1s off the low ground between Tworkaholics and CTE. I do want to look back at what happened with the CTE res. It looked like by the zone, like did not allow the players of CTE to make their way since they were taking so much circle damage anyways.
Yeah, I think it's... Is it 25 a tick, I think, by that final zone? Something like that. It's pretty horrendous. Either way, yeah, they don't make it back in. And look, it was the honorable thing to do by Young Black Ricky there to let the other two teams play it out. I felt like they could have picked over and tried to steal those kills, but they were just like, no, it's all good. You guys go for it.
I do have to say, though, Tworkaholics was lighting up the feed, and they were absolutely fragging out with their KP. So having to look at how that KP has distributed in general is going to be interesting to say the least, since, of course, this is game number 2. It helps kickstart your positioning in the overall standings here.
A team that I don't think many had on their radar coming into the ALGS Open, Vicky, but we knew that there were going to be some talent found here, discovered, and then put on the map here as we go further into this tournament and see if, you know, is it just these early lobbies that they'll be showing up in, or can they go all the way and hang with the big dogs? 20 kills and 29 points for Tworkaholics in match 2.
20 points! Tworkaholics, what a statement from this squad. That is one way to showcase how strong you are on a map like World's Edge. Of course, our next band legend is also going to be Crypto. After we saw certain plays here with the Crypto, especially in that second game, for a lot of teams to get the information that they needed for a lot of these buildings.
Yeah, and we saw, Vicky, I mean, it was it's such a stark difference to go from 4 Crypto players to 16. I mean, that's just amazing how we see the players change up their playstyle from one game.
Dude,
to
I found a
the
bunch of Rice Krispies, my guys. Let's go.
Being able to be flexible is the name of the game with these legend bands. With YBR also getting that dub, of course, securing themselves a total of 14 points, but Tila already finding themselves in an early fight.
Okay. Looks like they've gone all the way over.
To get set up here, looking at those legend bands. One from each right now between Recon and support. Something we've been seeing too, right? A pretty good spread out of the legend bands as the courses of the games have gone on.
Yeah, like often in some of the, I think when I was watching maybe the match point lobbies, this match point scrim lobbies coming into this open, you would sometimes get one assault, one skirmish shot, one controller, one support, one recon character banned in the first 5 matches. And that does say something.
They do indeed.
It does feel like we're actually approaching, you know, a bit more balance between the classes, right? Obviously, we've had times where, you know, deliberately we've had the support class very, very strong. The assault class very, very strong.
Recon too at one point.
Yeah, and now it feels like they've all sort of been bumped up, and you know, it's all been ratcheted up to 11, and that's resulted in a lot of good characters across the different classes.
It's fantastic to see that overlook. And again, Torcoholics are leading this entire lobby with 45 points. In second place is Young Black Ricky with 20 points. So kind of even overall once you go from second all the way down to even like 8th, with Soul being there too with 14 points. But Tila already finding themselves in an early fight.
Okay. Looks like they've gone all the way over to a launch site there, I believe that was. I don't know if they were perhaps contesting over like one of the small eggs further down. Twerkaholics once again looking for that early knock. This time, oh my god, actually gets the hit here. They're actually looking to Quad's countdown. Remember last time they got the knock onto Crazy Raccoon over at Mirage et Trois, but yeah, look, they're really trying to max out those sight lines here. Man, how would you feel? How would you feel if you were like the defending world champs in Na'Vi and you are like 27 points behind a PSQ team? Isn't that crazy?
I mean, that's the beauty of the ALGS Open. That's what I love about a situation like this. You know, it kind of makes me feel like I'm going to my roots, you know, coming from Smash and seeing the double elimination and then seeing, you know, just the dark horse coming out of left field and really putting on a performance, and a significant performance of that.
And it's exactly what we wanted, right? That's what we wanted out of the ALGS Open. We wanted to be able to tell these stories of, you know, more than just the top 40 teams that we've seen previously at ALGS lands, and you know, I think that's being vindicated right here.
Interesting though.
PhD version
Looking
of
at
the
where the
fire
zone is
indeed.
pulling, looking like it's going to be very similar to our first game end zone, maybe pulling over to that north side of Skyhook. For the teams that have already gotten that scan, Furia obviously had called in the evac tower earlier. They split loot Skyhook West, where they also have a survey beacon and the ring console to work off of.
Yeah, with 2 Evos currently spawning in Skyhook. You can see one right next near Trials and the other one further over to the east. Considering the Skyhook East team sometimes can be left in the dark a little bit with loot with Evo, that's actually not a bad option for them. Especially they get the tunnel loot as well here. They get into the vault. That gives quite a bit of help over to Monster. I think it's, what is it, like 150, 200 for the whole team? Yeah, okay, so yeah, they were waiting. I love this. Oh my god, okay, 70 pushing onto them right now. Monster get out just in time. Na'Vi are actually very close to being on top of them right now. This has gone from, I was about to say, really good play there by Monster into almost a nightmare for them. Because if you looked closely there, Vicky, as I think they are actually going to get the reset. Let's just lower the heart rate a little bit here for a second. What they did was there was an Evo cache in the vault. They waited for their teammate to hit the Evo Harvester out in Skyhook East so they could get to blues. Then they hit the Evo cache for the insta-purple.
Oh, that was huge here. Making moves just 3 steps ahead for them to reposition and hopefully not getting punished for it, while Na'Vi up on the high ground, and they're not the only ones too across from them. Another team trying to put some pressure onto the squad that's right below, because we know that Fury or VKG, having their POI advantage, have already congregated over to that north console of Skyhook that overlooks a lot of the action happening right below them. Energy looking to try to engage though. They have already used up Ballistic ult, trying to engage with only 7 seconds left. Meanwhile, Twisted Minds, Aberlele also getting a knock onto VG, right? A lot of action this third game around, though, really kicking things up compared to our last 2 games.
Twisted Minds getting into a fight in the Vault Tunnel. We were just speaking about before. They won't find much loot in here. They will find some trouble.
Oh, it's Twisted Minds is Alb's team.
Ring around the Rosie with the ulcer, and then the portal nexus to get out of trouble with Aberlele being literally one shot. They have to leave enemy behind here when they do take advantage of that. Okay, moving around.
Like, I knew that shit sounded so
I was
familiar.
worried a little bit. When he looked around, didn't hear the portal nexus behind him, thought that was an enemy waiting for them by the portal nexus.
Yeah, enemy doesn't make it, but the fact that they've got all the way back into Monument by themselves means they should be able to find a crafter somewhere and grab that respawn. Maybe up in Epicenter.
They don't hear some gunshots. Landslide could be another option, considering there is also a ring console over there, so they could get the little double whammy here, considering Energy taking their time, still looking at the teams that could possibly rotate from the south side of stadium, while also looking at Spectre East or in VCGO now. No, sliding in with the P20s. Gets Curve catching him off guard.
It's the revenge. Remember, Liquid started off by taking down one of the VCGO members, and now they've come back for them. Said you should have finished this off while you had the chance. There you go. There's another one of those crazy altar portals that you can get right from the start here. I mean, you've got to think, right? This map wasn't designed with Ultra in mind, so naturally there are going to be some interesting spots that you can play with that, especially now that the distance has been increased to 30 meters.
It's getting a lot of creative here as we see the finisher from NRG. Well, everyone wants to get a little hint of this. Timmy making a statement out here, getting a little bit of extra Evo charge too.
Not only locking them down and not allowing them to get back through the void, but yeah, also extra Evo. Love to see it. Okay, so NRG, they've been consistently looking for fights in and around, you know, coming out of Thermal Station. Timmy, of course, loves that POI, has played it for a very, very, very long time. Round 3 of NRG versus Twerkaholics. Ding, ding.
This is what the Alter Portal Nexuses provide, though. It's the constant reset as well when you go from one Portal Nexus to the other. Again, you can have two existing at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if the other Portal Nexus that they have from Twerkaholics is on the north side by Countdown, which would lead them closer into that next zone, and also next to a Replicator, too, in case they find themselves in any trouble. Nice, by the way, knock with the charge rifle onto Timmy before he immediately reverts back towards where he was originally with the Portal Nexus.
MCGA, yo, what's up, Spencer? What you been saying?
NRG don't chase.
What you been saying, bro? How you been, man? Oh shit. Hawk, bro, you're doing God's work out here, bro. Yeah, I love your videos, man. Your videos are amazing. God's work. That election was so rigged. Dealing with tards? Yeah, I bet. I fucking bet, bro. Bro, that election was so rigged. I was watching your phone call when you called in about the guy taking the election votes home. That lady was just reading off a script. Oh my god. It's embarrassing. No worries, man. No worries. Dude, I swear to God, I show everyone your channel, man. Everyone that I know. We need to get the word out there, brother. It's disgusting. Canada's not, like, unrecognizable now. It's absolutely disgusting. The Canada that we grew up in, bro, is just gone. You know what I mean? It's so unfortunate. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. My buddy's dad used to be a journalist at the Hamilton Spectator, and they're showing him your videos, and he was like, "Fuck, man, I would have killed to have a kid like this back in the day." He was like, "This kid's got fucking balls, man." I was showing him when you went to Carney's rally and you were calling him out for hanging out with Epstein. He's like, "Man, this kid's got fucking balls." Oh, dude, it was awesome. Good times, man. Good times. How many kids, Mark? How many kids did you fuck, you goof? Oh, that was so good. I heard you've been watching for a minute when I saw your comment recently. I was like, no shit, Wilkie? Yeah, bro, for sure. Dude, once I seen Reed in there, it's just like, dude, I seen Reed in that video, I started howling, bro. It's just like, there's no fucking way. There's no way this guy's going to the rallies too. That's amazing. Yeah, man. So, what's his name? Luke Kennedy fucking put me on. He told me about it when you first started up your channel and shit. Yeah. I was just like, that's sick. I remember we used to sit there and chill. Well, I don't know. You were there a couple times, but Kennedy and I would sit there and chill back in the day, and we just talk about how fucked Canada was getting. Fucking read. Of course, he got kicked out. Yeah, bro, you gotta be careful. Better be careful. The new liberal government, man, they're gonna be censoring the internet and shit so hard. Like, fucking. That was one of Carney's main Oops, shit. That was one of Carney's main selling points, was censoring the internet, bro. It's like, holy fuck. How much more censoring do we need? The liberal media is already paying, like, the mainstream media. Like, fuck, how much more censoring do we need? I'll be in a prison camp? Facts. Dude, seriously, though, you're not even wrong. You're not even wrong. Man, I'm telling you, I'm sticking around in Canada till my parents pass away. Once my parents pass away, I'm fucking moving to Bali or some shit. Maybe even Argentina. Fund the media completely? Oh, I know, it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. Pretty sure in 2020 when COVID was happening, there was an article that they put in $50 billion just in CNN alone. I don't know, I shared it on my Facebook years ago, but it got taken down. It's like, alright. Maybe the new Alberta? Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised. It's only a matter of time before Alberta's just gone, you know? The new Alaska. East Alaska. Southeast Alaska. Oh, fuck, boys. I'm gonna hop off, man. I'm fucking tired. I just finished work and shit. I just did a quick little stream jerking off on the game here. I hope you have a good night, boys. Yo, Spencer, keep doing what you're doing, bro. Fucking keep doing what you're doing, bro. Yo, we should fucking hang out sometime, man. We should definitely hang out sometime. I'll message your email and we'll set up a time to hang out or something. Keep doing you, you patriot. Love you, bro. See you, zombie. Stay out of trouble, my man. Text Luke? Okay, I will for sure. Alright, for sure. Hell yeah, bro. Fuck yeah, bro. I'll talk to you soon, man. Keep it real. Peace, boys. Sick.